As we've done with the inventor nerds and the angry boys of D&D, we're now moving on to the charmers, the bards, the minstrels, songster. That's not a word. It's fine. Anyway, we're talking about one of my favorite classes in D&D, despite the fact that I barely do any content on it. Bards are wonderful, but because they're all-around supporters, generally, it's a little more challenging to do a build on. That's a whole thing. That's a me problem. It's not a you problem. Don't worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. Anyway, today we're going to go through 8 third-party feats that I think fit the bard quite well, 4 of which are origin feats, 4 of which are general feats. These are the ones that are on D&D Beyond. I would love to open it up to everything that's third-party, but at that point I think my poor little brain would implode. And I'm assuming nobody wants that. I don't want that. I'm tired enough as it is without not having a brain. Anyway, let's just get to it. We are kicking off with one which, as I said in the Artificer video, we are going to see a lot of. It is the Altered Feat from Crooked Moon. This is a feat which gives you 4 options. It's not really 4 options, it's actually 5 options. 3 of them are fine. You have Aquatic Adaptation, which lets you get a swim speed and also allows you to breathe in water, which can be handy in specific campaigns. If you want to play, say, a human with a swim speed, then that's great. If that's something you want to do. You also get natural weapons. You can have a D8 unarmed strike that deals bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. It's entirely up to you. The flexibility there is quite nice, and it opens up some really cool builds as well if you want to play something along those lines. And you can gain dark vision if you don't already have it. If you do already have it, you can improve it by 30 feet. That one is probably the worst of the bunch. Dark vision is fairly common, and even with the species that do not have it, I don't know that I would ever take a feat that just gives me dark vision. Not going to feel good. The boss one here is the natural armor aspect, which either gives you an AC of 13, and then you either add your dex or your constitution modifier to it. This allows you to ditch dex in a way that you can't always, which allows for some really interesting builds. You obviously might still want dexterity as a bard, not just for your saves, but for sleight of hand checks, things like that. But if you're planning on playing a slightly more well-rounded bard, so one with a high charisma or high con, and then more average stats across the board otherwise, this allows you to do just that, which is wonderful. Also, 13 plus your con modifier is 16 out the gate most of the times. And then if you throw in a shield as well, depending on the class you're playing, 18 AC is a very respectable amount at level 1. Bards don't get shields, I don't think, initially, a specific kind of bard, but nevertheless, 16 AC is solid. It kind of replaces your mage armor completely, and is actually slightly better than it the vast majority of the time. So that's old. Another one from the Crooked Moon is Cult Initiate. This is basically the Magic Initiate feat, but for warlocks, and having access to Eldritch Blast specifically is quite good, as it turns out. I really like this just as a feat in general. I think it's a good one to have. A lot of the extra attack things state that you must use, so the extra attacks that allow you to use cantrips, they generally insist that you use a cantrip from the specific spell list. It's not always the case, but when it is, this isn't going to be applicable. But having Eldritch Blast and having another cantrip as well gives you a lot better damage as a bard without worrying about resources than you would have otherwise. Starry Wisp is fine, Vicious Mockery is okay, but it's nice to have more options here. And you get a level 1 spell which you can cast for free once per long rest, and then you get access once per short or long rest, which is lovely. It's good stuff. It's a very cool feat. It's also, from an RP perspective, a lot of fun. So is the Experiment, to be fair. Another one from the Crooked Moon. The Crooked Moon origin feats are so great, man. I wish we got more feats in that book. The Reveling Fool is one if you want to play a trickster, a jokester, as it were. You get Fool's Mask, which allows you to don a jovial mask or a costume of some kind along those kinds of lines. You get to take on a new identity while you're in the guise of a fool. You can get away with minor transgressions against people in power or positions of authority or station, which is a lovely little bonus if you're going to be playing in like a city-based campaign, to be able to get away with just being a little birthday guy. You also get access to the Hideous Laughter spell for free. Your spellcasting ability is whichever one you want of the standard 3 mental stats, and you can do it without material components or a spell slot once per long rest, which is pretty good. So yeah, I like it. I like that one a lot. This one's very much more roleplay in my mind, but that's never a bad thing. And our final origin feat is also from the Crooked Moon. Told you they were bangers. This is Dread Speech. This is one for the bards who wish to be feared. You get Eldritch Word, which allows you as a bonus action to speak a magical word aloud to force a creature within 60 feet of yourself to make a wisdom saving throw, which is DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus, plus either your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. I love the flexibility. There are feats that we've had since this book, which would do well to pay attention to that kind of thing, but hey. On a failed save, the creature becomes frightened until the start of your next turn. You can do it once safely per short or long rest, but you can use it as many times as you want. But every time you do, you will take 1d6 necrotic damage, which can't be prevented or reduced. It's super cool. I like that as a bit of design quite a lot. It does say you can use it again. To me, that would suggest basically as many times as you want, but maybe you can only do it once. I think that's a little up in the air mechanically. You also get, because that's not the only thing you get with this one, you also get the ability to have the Bane spell prepared. You use the same spellcasting ability you do for Eldritch Word, and you can do this once for free, and you get that back on a long rest, which is great. Bane is a solid spell. I think Bless is generally considered to be better because buffing your allies is usually more helpful than nerfing your enemies, especially because there are saves involved with Bane, whereas there are not with Bless. But I do think they are both solid spells, and having access to one for free is never a bad thing. On to the general feats now, and the first one I want to talk about is Field Commander. This is from the Valda's Spire of Secrets, the player pack. This boosts your charisma by 1, which is essential, and as an action, you can issue a command to an ally within 60 feet of you that can hear you. It can immediately take an action as a reaction. It can only be used to take one attack, the dash, dodge, hide, influence, search, study, or utilize action. Along with that, when you are within 5 feet of 2 or more allies that don't have the incapacitated condition, enemies cannot have advantage on you. So it's like reverse pack tactics, which is funky. The ability to use your action to get another player to attack can be absolutely amazing, because while opportunity attacks are solid, the ability to ignore the movement part of it and just have someone finish another enemy off is amazing. I do tweak this one slightly for my own games, and my own group does as well, in that it takes a bonus action instead of an action. But I do think that even as an action, if you're playing the right class and subclass, with the Bard being probably the best pick, a good chance of being a very strong feat. Next is Lightning Caster, allows you to boost your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1, and it allows you to cast a cantrip as a bonus action, providing you cast the same cantrip as part of an action and it only targets a single creature. So you can't do this with Eldritch Blast, because technically you're not targeting a single creature, you're targeting the same creature 3 times. It's a whole thing. But if you're doing something like Firebolt or Vicious Mockery or Starry Wisp or whatever other cantrips you want, the ability to cast 2 of these in a turn can massively boost a bard's viability in campaigns where rests are on short supply. Most modules assume that you're doing just every encounter in existence without resting in between them, and spellcasters can often feel very, very stretched in those campaigns. That's where the balance comes in. This is a great way to mitigate that. That's not all you get for this though. Along with that, you also get the ability to cast a spell as a reaction without spending a spell slot once per long rest. That is 1 free casting of probably Shield, sometimes Counterspell, sometimes another secret third thing. Spiny Shield is a banger. That's also very good. So this is a very solid feat. Hulking Figure is a great accompaniment to the Experiment Origin feat if you want to go as a Strength Barbarian, which is fun. It allows you to boost either your Strength or your Con by 1. Once per turn, you can deal an extra 1d4 of bludgeoning damage to a target you hit with an unarmed strike. So you could do this with a Dance Bard. I think that could be fun. And when you make a Charisma, it's not all your Charisma checks. When you make an Intimidation, Performance, or Persuasion check, you get to also add your Strength modifier to the roll, which is great. I did a build on a Face Barbarian, I want to say 2 weeks ago? Last week, I think. Time has escaped me. Anyway, I did one recently, and this is a lot of fun, as it turns out. This one also gives you a boost to your carrying capacity, which can be nice. But the ability to add 2 modifiers to your already preposterous rolls as a bard is good, as it turns out. So yeah, I like this one a lot. Finally, we've got Opportunistic Thief. I don't know why this one is labeled as partnered content, but none of the other stuff was. This is from the Humblewood campaign setting. I really like the Humblewood stuff, but a lot of it is hyper niche. This is one where that's not the case. This allows you to boost your dexterity by 1. It's a shame it's not anything else, but it makes sense. When a creature fails a melee attack against you in combat, you can make a sleight of hand check against the creature equal to DC 10 plus the target's dex mod. On a success, You can steal any one item that is not being held or worn by the target. And whenever you do, and along with that, whenever you successfully use your sleight of hand skill outside of combat to steal an object, you may immediately conceal it flawlessly on your person, or put an object you possess in its place. A lot of bard players lean into the more roguish archetypes, and this is a perfect feat for that. Also, as a DM who's run for a player who has this feat, there's just something really, really entertaining about figuring out what a character would have on them that someone could steal or replace. Do they replace a healing potion with a poison potion, for example? There's so much fun to be had with this feat. It is inventive and glorious, and I adore it. But that is it for this list of bard feats. I hope you enjoyed my feat list. I have so many regrets. If you did, please like and subscribe. Next week we will be doing clerics, unless something comes out. I'm desperate for a third-party book to review. Please, please, D&D Beyond, give me some goods. Alas. Anyway, I do hope that you're doing well and that you take care of yourself before the next time that you see me, or I see you. It'd be weird if I see you, but you never know. Anyway, goodbye.